Hello, Facebook world. Um, I decided to try something new. I'm going to try to do a live stream from the Hive today, from what I like to call affectionately the boardroom. And also just give a couple of updates on the Hive, and hopefully, if we get any questions, then that's great. We can share those as well. So, as you may know, I have had the Flow Hive here since February of 2018. And we're kind of winding down the season now. This is it's October 22nd, and we're getting in a fall flow, but I'm keeping that all for the bees. I've had a little bit of a hard time, honestly, the past couple of months. I think it's due to a few different factors. I don't know if it's been pesticides in the area. I know there's been some spraying with mosquitoes, and I'll pan over to my house. You see that little blue stick thing off in the distance? That's a mister that I've been using to try to keep the bees in the hive whenever they spray. Um, I did a little hive inspection video I actually just posted recently, and just ran into a series of different issues, not the least of which was, if you'd watched any of my previous videos, I had 3 boxes on top of here. We had the main brood hive, I had a second brood box, and then for the third box was the Flow Hive Supers, which I currently have. If you can see it over there on my grill, just sitting over there. I've been letting the bees collect any remaining nectar or honey out of there. I did do an extraction. And currently, I'll flip the box open here, but there's no bees in here. I just have a honey jar that I'm feeding honey to the bees with. So the only current box with bees is the brood box. I've had to scale it back to enable them to build back up, and I'm frankly a little bit worried about them because the population's a little bit low. They hadn't built up over the winter. July and August was a little bit of a, it's called a dearth, when there's not a lot of resources out. And so, I don't know, they're struggling a little bit. This is my first year, and I had a really strong colony back in July, August. And it seems to have fallen off. So I'm doing what I can to make sure they've got plenty of resources. I'm feeding the honey back to them. I did an inspection the other day. Hey, there's a lizard trying to probably eat some of my bees. But anyway, so I thought it would be interesting to do a YouTube live video, and kind of talk and see if there's any questions or if anybody chimes in here. But basically, I have downsized the box. This is just a feeder box now. I'm currently feeding them back honey, and they've been putting the honey down into the frames. I did an inspection yesterday or day before. I didn't record it, and that's actually part of why I'm doing this as well, is I've discovered there's a limitation on the recording capabilities of the phone that I have. I've got a Note 8, and I guess because of some of the issues with the Note, you can only record for 10 minutes, and I kept trying to figure out why my videos were clipping off at 10 minutes. It would start recording another video immediately, but there was no setting I could do to extend the video. And so come to find out, that's actually a quote-unquote feature of the Samsung phones. So at some point in the near future, I'm probably going to get some actual recording equipment so that I can do this properly. But as you can see, the bees are coming in and going out. They're finding resources and stocking up. Right now in October, I'm in Savannah, Georgia. It's like, I don't know, 75, 80 degrees out here. It's a beautiful day. And the bees are finding resources. You may see a handful of these guys that'll come in. They've got the pollen pockets on them. When I did the inspection, the frames had plenty of nectar and plenty of pollen. The queen was laying eggs. I did actually get to spot the queen finally, which I haven't seen her in a while since I've done the videos. And so, you know, there's every reason that they should be successful. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm doing my part. There were a fair amount of hive beetles inside of the hive, and so I put in a hive trap. I may here in a minute open up the hive and just see how that, I mean, it's only been in for a day, but just see if they've done anything with that. I've been feeding them back nectar, like I said, to make, it's their honey, so you're not normally supposed to feed bees back honey, especially from outside sources if you don't know where the originating source is, because it could have American foul brood spores, or it could have other spores from different things that are not healthy for the bees. So, but if it's your honey from your bees, then it's fine. So I basically, what I did was I took out the flow frames, and I did a extraction in my kitchen, which was interesting, but worked fine. Out of the frames that were in there, I was able to collect probably a little over a half gallon of honey, maybe 3/4 of a gallon between all of the frames that were in there. If you watch the video I just posted, there was you could see the frames themselves while they still had nectar in them. And out of the frames, 2 of the frames just, I don't know what the originating nectar source was, but it was not my favorite flavor. It was definitely unique. It had kind of a, I don't know, my wife likes it, but I wasn't a fan. But the main frame that had the most honey, the one that was that kind of second in frame, was I think pretty good. It was of the same quality of the rest of the honey that I had extracted throughout the year. So I took the honey that I was not a big fan of. It just had a weird, I don't know, lack of a better word, like a celery flavor. Like, it was sweet, like honey should be sweet, but it had kind of a off flavor, just something I wasn't a big fan of. But obviously the bees like it, so I've taken it and put it back into the hive. And like I said, I've got the, I'll crack it open in here again. There's one bee in here. I'm trying to let her get out. But they've almost taken all of the honey out of here. Oh, coming out. Maybe, no. All right, I'll let her out in a minute because I'm gonna take the lid off when I get a chance. So at any rate, you know, like I said, we're just kind of sitting out here at the boardroom checking in. I did want to give an update just to show that, you know, there's still plenty of activity. When I did the inspection, there was brood. There were eggs. The queen is laying. They have lots of nectar and pollen and honey. And so, you know, I'm trying to make sure that they are set up for success. But I mean, there's only 8 frames in this bottom box. They're only really using 4 of them. And the other 4 frames do have comb, so they have room to expand. But usually in October, they're trying to store up and bulk up for the winter. So, I didn't see any drones, so they may have already kicked all the drones out. That's kind of a seasonal thing that happens where they go through and basically, it's kind of it's kind of cruel, but as the seasons get a little colder, we get closer to fall, drones really serve one purpose. They're the boy bees. They've got kind of the big eyes, a bigger abdomen, and they don't have any stingers. Their only function is to mate with queens, and other than that, they just eat resources out of the hive. And so there's no real rhyme or reason to have them in the hive during the fall and winter months, because the queen's already, got all the resources she needs. And so she's not going to be mating again. She only mates the one time, unless they get a new queen. They don't need any more drones. So they, rather cruelly, they go in and they cut the wings of the males and they kick them out of the hive to die. And so I haven't seen any drones recently, so they may have already done that. But anyway, total honey count for this year, including the extraction I just did from the flow frames that, again, I'm feeding back to the bees so that they've got good stores for the winter, was right at, I'm going to call it 7 gallons for the first year. 6 of it that I got to keep, but a total of 7 gallons all in. We made mead with it. I've given it away as gifts. We've rendered probably 2 or 3 pounds of wax. It's been a really, really educational period of just learning for myself. I've thoroughly enjoyed the process, and it's something that I hope to continue. I'm going to keep updating videos and give updates on the hive, and hopefully show that they're doing great and they've bounced back and ready for the winter. Total sting count for this year, I think I'm at 5, all of which have been my fault, something stupid I did. I had one where the bee was like right here, and I just went to go stabilize my hand on the box and just wasn't paying attention, and of course she stung me because I put my hand on her. Sorry, I just had a bee checking out my mouth. She went on her way. Everything's good. Oh, that's not a bee. That's a yellow jacket, enemy of the bee. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on those. That's not okay. So, at some point, I do want to do a Q&A. So I've been compiling different questions from the videos that I've posted throughout this year. I've started the channel a long time ago, but I really started uploading to it regularly once I had the hive, and I thought there was enough content for it. But I would love to, get some questions. Here, see, yellow jacket right on the entrance. Well, that's not okay. We're gonna have to keep an eye on those. Yellow jackets are a direct predator of bees, so it's one of those things that we gotta be worried about. There's 2 of them over here now that I look. So I don't know if you can see it on the ground there, but he's crawling underneath. So if they're scrounging for resources, they can try to kill bees, and then they'll take the nectar. Now, I have enough of a colony built up in this area that I'm not really worried about it. Bees can defend themselves, but they may have to sacrifice a few bees to take out a yellow jacket. So, anyway, as far as I feel like overall this year has been, like I said, highly educational. But overall, it's been a success. I'm gonna lay the phone down here so we can kind of keep an eye on the entryway. Overall, it's been a success. It's one of those things that that there are more predators than I had anticipated. I was really prepared for varroa mites, and that has not been an issue. I was not prepared. There's a yellow jacket sitting on the board. I was not prepared for yellow jackets. I was not prepared for hive beetles. I thought, everything that I had read in books, hive beetles were going to be, a really minor thing, because if you have a really healthy colony and a built-up hive, then for the most part they take care of themselves. I've watched several videos where, um, there's beetle barns and hive traps and, just something I thought was really simple to manage, and has been a bigger problem than I anticipated. So for next year, I plan to do my part to be a little bit more um, forward thinking when it comes to that. Um, I think uh, the boom of the hive between spring. I mean, I never expected to get honey. I honestly didn't expect to get honey in the first year. I thought, it would be next year before I actually got any resources. But the bees had filled up the entire bottom box. If I had put on the super, not super, excuse me, if I had put on the second brood box, I think in May or June, I think they would have completely built that up, and I would have had a bigger colony. My original intention for next year was to do a split and have two hives. Right now, I'm not sure if that's even going to be a possibility. So, um, we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, with all that said, I'm gonna um, keep plugging away at this. I'm still a first year beekeeper. I've been learning about it for 3 years, and finally, oh hey, that was a nice little pollen pocket they brought in. I've been learning about this for about 3 years. I finally bit the bullet this early spring, and I'm really glad I did. It was well worth the investment. I think it's something that has been really great for my family, for I. My wife has really bad seasonal allergies, and um, I think the local pollen and the local honey has really helped with that. It's not a cure-all by any means, but it's helped mitigate. Um, she also was really nervous about me getting the hive in general. We've got a 6-year-old, and you never know. But my neighbors have been really supportive. Everybody's been really on board. We've had kids over to play with the hive. I've got a kid bee suit. Um, and we brought them out here and had little education days. And so it's been a great experience overall. I definitely don't regret it by any means, and I hope to expand this next year. I still hope to split the hive. If for whatever reason I'm unable to do that, if the bees, aren't able to make it through the winter for some reason, I will get another set of bees. But my hope is that they will not only survive the winter, but be able to build up quickly, that maybe in April or May, that I could do a split and have a second hive. I would really love to be able to do that. And then maybe I'll just be a little bit smarter when it comes to taking care of the hive beetles and some of these other predators that I thought were going to be less of an issue, and other predators that I thought were going to be more of an issue that weren't. We definitely had our share of varroa mites, but I did not. Um, Sorry, I got somebody flying around my face. I'm not wearing a net or anything today. Um, we had our share of varroa mites, but I treated for them, and it was basically it. It was pretty straightforward. So, um, with all that said, There's another yellow jacket over here. This is not okay. Alright. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to do some research and figure out what I need to do about yellow jackets, because maybe that's part of my problem. And the bees are kind of on guard now that the yellow jackets are around. They're a little bit more defensive too. So I'll wrap my video up here. If you guys have any comments or questions, please share them. And I hope to keep this journey going. So thanks a lot, guys.